Okay, so in this video we're just going to go through how to construct a bar chart from a given table. The first thing I just want to do is, obviously I've got the table ready. Sometimes they don't have the tables ready for you, but you've just got to use your own judgment to work out what scale you need to have here. So for this one, the information is telling us about the colour of 30 cars that are in this car park, and we need to construct a bar chart representing this data here. Okay, so whatever's here, generally they will be words, they're not always, but generally they will be. That will always go on the bottom or the x-axis, okay? And then the frequency will go up the side. I'm just going to add that on too. So you should always, obviously you've labelled it there, but actually say what it is. So colour of cars, okay? And the frequency is there. So frequency just means the number of cars that were that particular colour, okay? So we had 5 that were blue, 2 green, 13 silver, 3 red and 7 black. Okay, now my scale I've gone up in 2s just because I didn't have enough space to go up in 1s. But you've just got to be realistic, okay? So if all these numbers were 100 and something, then it wouldn't be realistic to go up in 1s, for example, okay? So we're going to be drawing bars to represent these. Make sure that the bars do not touch each other, okay? You'll see what I mean when we work our way through. So for the first one, blue, there are 5, so it's going to be between 4 and 6, and we just draw a bar, okay? And I'm going to colour them in. Might do different colours. Okay, so the next one, the green one, we're not going to make it so it's next to it, okay? There's going to be a gap between them, so we've got 2, so it goes up by 2, and we colour it in. Okay, and that's all you do, okay? So just make sure that a lot of people just make silly mistakes really with the numbers, so just make sure that you do that. So halfway between, about there, all the way down. Okay, next one, there are 3 red, so 3 is going to be between 2 and 4, yep. And the last one, black, there are 7. Okay, when you do this, try and make the bars all the same width. Obviously it's a lot easier if you've got like square paper, which I know a lot of maths books do. So just try and make them so that they're all, so for example, you can make them all 2 squares, for example. Okay, and then have 1 space in between them. Okay, so that's all you need to do. So that's just the basic bar chart. On the next side, we're going to do a dual one. Okay, so a dual bar chart is the same as a bar chart, but what happens is there'll be 2 bars, and this one, they can be touching each other, okay? Only because we've got 2, what's the word? Like 2 figures that are represented. So for example, we've got 2 numbers that need to be in the maths one, because we've got 1 for the girls and 1 for the boys. So for each one, these 2 bars will be next to each other, but then there'll be a gap between the maths, the English and the science. Okay, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to make girls be red and the boys be green. Make sure you have a key, so you could do like a little square thing saying that this colour is boys and the other colour is girls. Okay, obviously because people need to be aware, if this was like a real life thing, they need to be aware of which one's which. So again, my axes I've gone up in 10s just because I didn't have enough space to do more. You could have, if you've ever done it before, do like a squiggle. So because our first one is 52, what you can do is, I'll rub this out after, you can start it here, but you do like a squiggle like that. And that means that you don't need to start at 0. So we could have started at 50 and then gone up in 5s, for example. Okay, so that's another alternative which we'll see more of through the videos that we're doing, because we're doing a lot of statistics graphs at the moment. Okay, so I'm just sticking with the basic ones. So firstly, similar to before. So for the maths, the girls got 72. So roughly find where 72 is. Okay, and as I said before, these ones are going to be touching each other. So the girls were that, boys were 85, which is about here. Okay, again, you can colour them in if you want to, make it look pretty. Okay, so those two bars are touching each other, so that's for the maths. But for the English, there will be a gap between the maths and the English one. Okay, so for the girls, they got 80% on average in English, so 80% is here. So as you can see, there's a gap between the boys one and the girls English one. Okay, and then for the boys, they got 60%, which is here. Okay, so they're touching each other. Okay, but then we're going to have a gap for the next one. So the next one, science girls, was 55. And 52 for the boys. Okay, again, you need to try and make the bars the same length on square paper, it'll be much easier. Another thing I need to add is what these are. So this is the average percentage that they got in each subject. Okay, you could write subjects underneath, but it's fairly obvious that it's maths, English and science, they're subjects. Okay, so that's how you do a dual one. So it's exactly the same as what you did before, except the bars that you've got for the two bits of data, they are allowed to be touching, but then after that you then have a gap between them.